Hello and welcome to another pattern recognition video. And if you're new to these videos or you're not sure what pattern recognition is all about, well, you basically want to pick a set of puzzles, whether it's 5, 10, 100, however many, and you want to solve them multiple times. If you just solve some puzzles once, you may just forget all about them. But if you work through a set of puzzles, solving them the first time nice and slow. That way you can figure everything out. And then you go back through them again, and hopefully you'll be able to solve them faster and faster each time. And the repetition will also help cement those patterns and tactics into your long-term memory. And hopefully you'll be able to use them more often in your own games. All right. Also, you can pick a mix of any type of tactics to solve, or like today, we're going to do decoys and deflections, a specific tactic. That could be a good idea if you're weak at something, you have a weak area in your tactics. You can try and focus on a specific group of puzzles. All right, let's begin here. I'll try and do at least 10 10 puzzles is normally what I do. All right, what happened? Well, the first thing you want to do is ask what your opponent's move is trying to accomplish. They just push their rook up here, threatening to maybe capture our pawn, deliver a check, to get our king running, and that would not be good. So also we're behind by one pawn, and we need to do something in a hurry here. So you want to look at checks, captures, and threats in that order. Checks first, as they're the most forcing. Now, we could move our queen here, here, or here, and the king could just run forward. Also, our rook could move up here, and that looks pretty forcing, because if we move our rook here, and remember to pause at any time if you want to think something out before I give away too many answers. So we attack the king, it's forced to move forward, and now we can check from here. And the two options are, remember, when a king is under attack and being checked, there are 3 or less options. Capture the attacker, block the attacker, or run from the attacker. So if the queen moves here, white would not be able to capture. So the king cannot run anywhere because of the rook covering the back rank. So once the king is on a2, the only option is to push here or drop back with the queen. Now, either way, it's not looking good, because if that pawn pushes forward, then the queen can move back up here and deliver a mate. So the queen, well, I'll play it out here. We're going to go there, forcing the king forward. Then we check. If the queen tries to block, well, then we use the decoy or deflection tactic. In this case, we're going to decoy and deflection are very similar. Basically with a decoy, you decoy a piece onto a line or square. A deflection deflects it away from a line or square. So once we go here, the king steps forward, we deliver a check, they block with their queen, and then we can use that decoy move or deflection to pull that king back to where it was, and then we can grab the queen. So check, check, and now we check again and grab the queen, and we should be easily winning with this queen versus the rook. We can start going after this pawn, picking that off. All right, on to puzzle number 2. And I have the rating set from 1,000 all the way up to 2,000 to hopefully give us a good variety of puzzles. Now, if you pick easier puzzles, it's more about your pattern recognition, because you see simple, easy, basic puzzles that they'll probably be easier to solve and help you reinforce those patterns. If you want to do a little bit more calculation practice too, along with pattern recognition, you can pick harder puzzles. So, puzzle number 2. What did this move accomplish? Oh, well, the king was in check. So remember the 3 options: capture, block, or run. We couldn't capture the queen way down there. So the king could have ran, I guess. But I don't know. Things are looking pretty rough for the king right now. It looks like we can deflect that king away from the defense of that rook there, because right now we have 2 defenders, 2 attackers. Maybe we can chase that king away, but what's the best way to do that? And you also want to take maybe a quick look to make sure you're not going to be surprised by any crazy checks against your own king. All right, so I'm thinking maybe we go here, attacking the king. So where does the king go? He'll no longer be able to protect this. And then we can just move up there with the queen or the rook. Which one would be better? So if we go there, maybe the king goes that way, but then we can capture. Then we would just be pinning the queen. So it just doesn't look good either way. So anyway, I'm going to go there. Oh, they don't want that. Is there something better? All right, what did I overlook here? Maybe they want us to capture first. That would trade material down. The more material you can trade when you're ahead. So maybe they want us to capture first. Then if the queen captures and attacks our queen, well, then we can go here. And if the king tries to protect the queen, we could even go here, pinning that queen. So maybe that's what they want. Or do we try that? If they capture... no, I think we got to go there first. All right, so that's what they wanted. And then now... Oh, wow, they don't even like that. Why? Well, maybe they don't want us to go there. So maybe we go here. Okay. Yeah, so this might be a weak spot for me. That was rated a little bit higher, 1866. But I seem to have some issues maybe with the decoys and deflection sometimes too. So they can get a little bit tricky. So on to puzzle number 3. The pawn is just pushed forward. So now what? If we look at material, we have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 5. We both have a knight and a rook. Okay. So if we're looking for a decoy or a deflection, maybe we want to try and get the king away from his defense of that. Well, what can we try to do here? I don't know. This one It's looking a little bit tricky here. What am I missing? Hopefully you're finding it more quickly than I am. And what forcing moves do we have? So if you're not sure what to play, you look at what your opponent just did. So they push that pawn. Is there any threat, any checks that they have? I mean, they could go here. We would just capture that knight. So that doesn't look good. Now we can look to see if we have any checks. And I don't see any checks. Any captures. Generally, you want to look for checks, captures, and threats in that order. I don't see any good checks. Captures, well, if we capture that, he'll just capture. I don't see anything good about that. Nope. Well, sorry, that was an accident. A mouse mistake there. I didn't even mean to move a piece. So maybe we go there to improve the knight, put it on that outpost. But then what? Is there any advantage to that? And maybe we push this pawn. If they go there. Wow. I don't know. Maybe we have to drop back. But if we try and reposition here, he could go there. What am I overlooking here? Maybe there's a way to try and push forward. If we go there, he takes. We go there with check. And then we get the knight. Okay. Well, hopefully you found that one. All right, so that's what they wanted. And that was rated 1922, a little bit trickier. Hopefully you found that one. On to puzzle number 4. Okay, the knight has just launched forward here onto our side of the board. There's a threat of capturing this pawn and attacking our rook, perhaps. So what do we do? All right, if we look at checks first, oh, and there's a threat of a mate here as well. Okay, wow. So we definitely have, that's why you want to look at checks, captures, and threats, not only what you can do to your opponent, but what they can do to you. So definitely take a look at that. So you might want to look at what your opponent just did. Ask yourself, does he have any checks, captures, or threats? Well, if you would have looked at checks, hopefully you would have found that, which is a mate. So what else can we do? We could look at checks, captures, and threats for ourselves. So we pretty much, maybe have to go there. If we do that, the king is forced to go here. And then what? Well, then maybe we can attack the queen, try and deflect it away from the defense of the knight. Well, or do we do that first? Do we go there first? Immediately attack the queen. Well, then it could just defend. It could move maybe away and defend this pawn. So I don't know. I'm thinking that is the good way to start. The king would be forced to move into the corner. then what do we do? Then do we go there attacking the queen? Because we have to deal with that mate threat. So capture with check. King goes into the corner. We attack the queen. Where does that queen go? It still has to guard the knight. So where's best? Maybe it has to go there. Oh, but then we might have a discovered attack. With something like that. All right, anyway, to keep the video moving along, I'm going to try this. Okay, that's what they wanted. Now, I'm thinking we have to go there to stop the mate threat. Okay, so that is what they wanted. Huh. Well, now we can just pick off this knight. Do we pick off the knight or do we need to go after the queen? No. Probably pick off the knight. Okay, so that's what they wanted. All right. Well, on to puzzle number 5. Okay, the rook has stepped forward. What does that accomplish? Does that do anything? Maybe he's getting ready to double his rooks up and then try and take our rooks out. Because our king, oh, and that could lead to a checkmate because our king can't go forward here. So that's looking kind of dangerous. All right. What can we do? If we look at checks, captures, and threats, oh, also they have that. Oh, and that doesn't look so good either. Check. We would have to go here. Check. We'd have to block with a rook. Yeah, that doesn't look good. So we need to act in a hurry here. Do we exchange here? Take. Then what? Then we go there, attacking the rook, but then they could move over and target our king. Or do we do this immediately? Take. If he takes, oh, well, man, there's just a lot going on here. We have that lined up there. But if we take it, the king could just go there. In the future, I don't know if we do that first. So, if we go there, pulls the rook forward and the rook is undefended. And you always want to keep an eye out for undefended pieces. Or We go there first. They take. Huh. All right. Well. Oh. Okay, maybe there's this little tactic. If we take, the king takes, then we can go there, pinning the rook to the king. That looks pretty dangerous. So take with check. If the king captures, we go here. Pinning the rook to the king. And now there's a threat here. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Capture. All right, so that's what they wanted. I guess we, decoy the king onto this diagonal where we can line up on these two pieces. And we're attacking the bishop. And if that bishop moves, well, then we can just go ahead and target the rook. Okay, halfway done. On to puzzle number 6. Here we go. The king has stepped forward to get out of check. Also, this pawn is under attack, but what is the best thing for us to do? All right. Well, yeah, they could go here as well and start chasing our king around. Decoy or deflection? Maybe we move here, attacking the king with check. You always want to look for the checks. Then what? Does the king go there? Then we could deliver a check. The king would have to step here. And, I don't know. Yeah, these are a little bit tricky, these decoy and deflection puzzles. I mean, let me know in the comments what you think. Also, if you have any requests for what you want to see in future videos, I had a viewer who mentioned these, so that's why I'm doing some. All right. Probably, I don't know, the check looks good. We need to get some kind of initiative going. If we attack the king that way, it gives our rook a little bit of breathing room. But I don't know, then our king is kind of open. There could be a future check there. But, this check is coming. So, check. If the king takes, then what do we do? Do we deliver a check? The king would have to go here. How do we take advantage of that? So check, capture, check, king goes here. And then what? Is there any way to keep attacking that king? I'm not seeing it. Oh, yes there is. Then we can take this pawn. The king would have to move back to here. And then what? All right, I'm going to start in that direction. So that's what they want. Okay, so we deliver the check. Now we can take the pawn here. Huh. Okay. Well, now we could just go there and deflect the king away from the defense of the queen, I think. All right, wow. All right, hopefully you figured that one out. On to puzzle number 7. And what do we have here? Knight is launching forward, attacking our knight. You know, if we capture, then queen recaptures. We just help them develop. But if we don't, they could go here. If our queen tries to capture, it'll be lined up on by the bishop. So, oh, here's the problem. If we just take that knight and the queen goes to recapture, we decoyed or deflected the queen away from the defense of that bishop. You know, or it's maybe more forcing if we just capture that first. Delivering a check. So maybe we do that first. And that's something to consider as well. When you're trying to figure out some tactics, sometimes the order of the moves makes a difference. You might have to reverse the order. So here, do we go there first? Or do we go here first? And does it make a difference? Well, that knight is doing a pretty good job there. But I don't know. If we take here, it kind of helps develop. So I think this is more forcing. And that's what they wanted. All right. Okay, on to puzzle number 8. Bishop is what? Attacking. Oh, pinning the knight to our rook there. So that looks kind of dangerous. And the threat is, you know, taking that knight with a check as well. Huh. Well, what can we do? All right, material. We have what? 2 pawns. They have 2 pawns, but we're down. They have the bishop pair versus our lone knight, and it's under attack. It's not looking good for us here. So what checks do we have? Well, we could move our knight here, but it would just be captured, and our rook is still under attack. So maybe we have to check with the rook. We can't go here. The bishop will just take us. But maybe we go there first. That decoys the bishop away. And then we can go there with check. But does that do anything? Because if we go there and they take, oh, we go there with a mate. The only thing they can do is block, then we capture and it's a mate. So there we go. All right, hopefully you found that one. That one was pretty interesting. So let's see what patterns we have in the final two puzzles. Okay, did they just captured something here? What else are they doing? Do we have any threats on our king? I don't see anything. So what checks do we have? Well, if we go there, the queen is guarding that. So should we try and deflect that queen away? How would we do that? And even if we did that, let's say we went here, they capture, then, oh wait, we still can't go there. What am I thinking? I guess I wasn't. All right. Well, maybe we threaten a check up here. I mean, the king could still go there, but then we go there and we start chasing that king. But then it looks like he could go there. Huh. All right. Wow. All right, we're looking for decoys. Oh, excuse me. Decoys or deflections. Would it do anything if we deflect the king over to here where he captures? Then we check. No, he could block with the queen. All right, maybe we go here. Yeah, or do we just go here, cutting off the king's escape, but then a rook could move there. You know, fighting for control of that open d file. Okay, I didn't look at all checks. Wow, okay, this one could be dangerous, and hopefully you found it. There's this check over here. So the king can't go to the b file, and the only square available, remember, when a king is in check, you have three options: capture, block, or run from the attacker. So once we go here, can't capture, could block with a rook, but you know that would just lose that rook. So the king is most likely going to run. Oh, actually, could block with the queen, but that doesn't. Does that work? He blocks. Oh, then we deflect or decoy the king away that way. So go there. Yeah, now that's a mistake because we do that and grab the queen. All right, on to the final puzzle. Puzzle number 10 here. Okay, this move, what is that accomplishing? Well, it leaves a discovered attack on our queen that's unprotected. You know, and if we capture their queen, well, they can go here first with a check, you know, and then grab the queen back, you know, maybe with the bishop. So, oh, maybe we ignore that. Can we do that? Ignore the attack on the queen. Go here and capture, because if they capture, well, then we have this back rank mate. So if we take, what do? They have to stop that back rank mate. Huh. I'm thinking that's the way to go. We just grab the rook and we're ahead. Okay, yeah, they didn't even want to look any further than that because I guess they kind of left theirself in a decoyed position. If they take that, then we have the mate. And now we're just ahead material. So, our next move, yeah, we would just be winning. All right. Well, I hope you did well in these puzzles. Remember, do regular tactical problems and puzzles, and solve them to improve your pattern recognition, and go over them more than once. That way, you don't just forget what you see. Also, feel free to leave comments, especially if you have any requests for something you want to see in the future. Whatever you have to say, I try and answer everybody. Also, like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.